They go back since bowl cuts. He's Dave. He's JR. Two grown men who can't get enough of each other. It's Hangin with Homie. Let's start the show.
So, were you ready for the heat?
Bro, I haven't been ready all day, but the heat has been ready for me, I'll tell you that. 95 here in the Mile High, dude.
Yikes. We luckily got some
brutal.
rain to cool us off today. That was nice.
Man, I did a bit this week. Pretended that my AC unit went down, right? Which has happened before. So, I mean, it was kind of a fib more than it was a lie, right?
Fib versus a lie. Okay. We learned something today.
Yeah, we got a heat wave coming. So I'm like, have you ever had to deal with a heat wave without the AC? And some of these people were, I'd fill up, jugs of water and freeze them. And then I'd put them all over my body when I went to sleep.
Who thinks
of
that?
So in theory, I mean, it's keeping you really cool, but in the morning, you're going to wake up in puddles.
She's like, I must have had a dream. I was on the Olympic swim team, dude. My bed is not a water bed, but it is now.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I swam that butterfly. Water was a little brisk.
It was, I woke up like George Costanza getting out of the ocean. I was in the ocean. It's a different size.
Yeah, dude, I was beating the heat today, hanging out inside at Out the Box, DJing their pop swap. But I felt bad for the DJ that was outside, dude, because
two DJs?
Two DJs, one inside, one outside.
Seems unnecessary. I like DJs, but that seems like a lot.
It was a lot, but outside the shop was its own different world.
Okay, what was that? Well, you were just like, oh hey, hope it's going good out there. I'm just inside.
It's inside here in the shade where it's cool.
Hey, you want to switch? No, it's okay. You got it. You got it.
No, they had about 15 vendors set up outside and just selling and trading and just doing all kinds of fun stuff. And people would come in and I'd be in there spinning. Dude, without fail, every gig that I play, somebody comes up to compliment me and ask me about my speakers. And that again happened today. I was running the Evolve 50s. Every time I do a gig, this happens, and it feels pretty cool because those speakers are badass.
You sure you don't have a sign that says, ask me about my speakers?
Yeah. Ask the DJ about his speakers, please. He'll cut you a deal.
I mean, guys, if you see an affiliate link pop up for speakers, we didn't put it there, swear to God. I mean, maybe we did.
Yeah, you never know, man. But that's what I was doing today, bud. Just spinning some jams at the shop for the pop swap and, selling some things as well, which is always good.
Usually when you text me, you're buying, and you did just buy a bunch. So I like that you're trying to get onto the like, oh no, Dave, I'm selling too. Don't worry.
No, dude, I'm doing both, man. I'm gripping and flipping, Bob.
All right, but what did you pick up? What are you gripping right now?
Well, I did buy something while I was there, though.
Okay, and that. All right, there's a couple things, because the one thing you sent me was you're like, all right, man, 110. It was and I'll be fair, I think you got a good deal because there was a lot in that lot.
Well, you know what's gonna blow your mind, and I'll tell the whole tale here.
Ooh.
That there's one figure in that lot that's going for $100 itself on eBay right now.
Good. Yeah, one in the lot. I buy the same way. I bought cards today. I'm like, okay, flip through, flip fast. I'm like, all right, one of these. Okay, here's the one that's gonna justify the whole buy.
Yeah. Well, the bad part is that's the one I'm keeping,
Dude.
So.
Well, look, if it's your hobby, you set your money aside, okay, that's fine. But, if it was me, I'd be like, you dummy, sell that right now.
Right. No, for sure. Well, I haven't opened it yet, so there's still a chance. I even bought a figure to go with it because he needed his tag team partner. But
is he going to be in a tag team match?
Tag team match. Well, I had decided to give Facebook Marketplace kind of a real shot, and it was a little bit sketchy. He's like, "Hey, I don't have a car, so I can't meet you in like a neutral, safe place. So you have to come to my house."
There's nowhere he could walk. Like, hey, dude, what's like the park or the gas station or like the place near you?
I asked him. He's like, "No, you can just come to my home."
This is how those 2020 shows or whatever start. Dateline. This is the beginning of a Dateline like intro.
No, really was, dude. So I almost text you and said, bro, if I don't call you in 10 minutes, alert the police. Here's my location.
Yeah, you need to add me to that. My aunt and my brother, and I think Brooklyn, my niece, has my location at all times.
Yeah, it's helpful. But he couldn't have been a nicer guy. He really couldn't have. And I picked out all the ones that I wanted. And he's like, look, I'll even take off $5. And I'm thinking, well,
what a guy.
Thanks, dude. What a guy, you know, because I knew what I was getting into. I was going to fill some holes in my own collection, and I was going to be able to flip the other ones because they were just such at a good price. Like you always say, there was plenty of meat on the bone. So immediately from there, dude, I drove up to the out the box. I processed them. I put the barcodes on them and put them. Literally, as they touch the glass, guys come I'll take that one, and I'll take that one, and, you know, you got any room on this one?
I hate that so much.
No, I don't, but these two are yours. Before they could even hit the shelf, which felt pretty good. And then I want to tell you about my most successful flip over this past weekend.
Love a good flip. I'm ready.
Okay, because I did plenty of gripping, all right, as well. So I'm gonna be honest with you.
Sounds like you're at the gym, dude.
I just like leave the house and I chalk my hands.
Chalk up. Like LeBron.
Whoa, that was weird.
There goes my headphones.
There it goes. Yeah, so let me tell you about my most successful flip. And it was a flip that was probably a year in the making. So I had picked up these two basic Legion of Doom figures in their blue attire, just basic Mattel figures with the blue pads, shoulder pads. And I got those from out the box last summer. And I just had them in my collection. I thought they were cool, and I got them for $8 a piece. Well, as I'm about to leave yesterday, Tiz comes over. He's like, hey, someone just bought your LOD. I'm like, really?
You're like,
wow.
What a rush.
What a rush.
Yeah.
And sold them for $70
oh, for the pair. Baby.
Yo,
that's a satisfying flip right there.
I didn't know that. Well, here's the thing is when I decided to part with them and put them on the shelf, I didn't know that. I was like, wow, I didn't know that these were going for like that much. It's just because we're probably not going to get them again, you know? But they were basics, and I was willing to part with them, and I was like, damn, that's a pretty good profit margin there. So I was happy about that.
Dude, killer flip. I was going to ask you, because I was thinking about the meetup and doing the deal, how often are you dealing with people who are bringing up comps and like what it's going for? Because it's very different when a collector buys and it's like, hey, I collect these, I'm going to keep these. And the guy's like, okay. Versus in here, everybody who comes in, I'm just like, yo, I'm trying to sell this. Yeah. I'm only doing 25% of retail. And so I'll tell a quick story about this, and I'll try to ask you the question again. These two guys come in. It's a father and a son. And they're nice. And I think I realized as soon as the son came in that he had called me like 3 times at the shop to ask what I pay for stuff. Yeah. And I'll do the simple like 25 to 30% of, you know, market or retail. And he comes in, he's like, hey, I got a Jaylen Brown rookie, Gem 10, I got a couple slabs, good stuff. Like, I'm like, yeah, cool.
I got these cheeseburgers, man.
Man, I don't want your nasty cheeseburgers. Anyway, if you know the movie, you know the rest.
If you know, you know.
And there's a stack. I said, what do you want for him? He goes, well, I don't know. I was going to look at comps. And I was like, let me stop you right there. What we do here and what everybody should be doing is we do 30-day range on eBay. A range, right. Which means not one, most recent, or the highest. It's recent, highest. What could I also buy it for right now to buy it now? Because that's important. If you're like, oh, I want 100, I'm like, but I can get it for 50 instantly, and I don't have to deal with any negotiating. Oh, well. So I was like, okay, well, here, let me just do one card. I said, this one's going for, I can buy it for 110 right now. I'm at 25% of comps. And he was like, 25%? He's like, oh, all the places in Arizona do 80%. I'm like, I'm calling BS on that. I haven't heard a single shop in my entire life that would pay 80% of full price. Absolutely.
They wouldn't be in business.
Yeah, I was like, if you can explain to me how I can make money, I'll happily do that. But telling you right now, you're making stuff up, and there's no way they actually do that. But if you're using this as some kind of negotiation tactic, hey, that's kind of clever, except you're dealing with somebody who used to negotiate big contracts before and not falling for it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I guess it's done. And I was like, yeah, you guys hang out, buy stuff. Like, please, like, I mean, if we're too far apart, that's okay. So they find stuff on the wall, new card walls up. If you haven't seen on IG, it's pretty sick. We'll get to that later.
Real quick, before you move on, do you find if you can't come to terms with a person that's bringing things in to sell, like, do they take that personally? Because you clearly don't. It's, hey, if we're too far apart, that's okay. Like,
that's cool.
You're welcome here, you know?
You're totally, yeah. I think they do. I think here's the thing I've noticed with people is a lot of people haven't been told no in their life, and they're like, I don't know what to do. And I'm just like, matter of fact, I'm like, look, numbers are numbers. I'm running a shop, and my favorite line, we're not a show, buddy. This is not a show. I didn't pay $100 for a table. I'm paying like a lot of rent every month, and I have lights. You like the AC? Feels nice in here, right? It's 95 outside. Not in here, it's not. You like how you can see everything? You're like, oh, I got the TV, I got the lounge. So I'm like, it adds up. And I do think people take it personal, and I try to not. I'm like, this isn't about you. It's just about the deal. And sometimes you're bad at negotiating. You should be better because you came into the Shark Tank and you weren't ready, and that's okay. So anyway, they get a stack of everything. It's priced. I pay a guy. This is an important fact. I pay Tim, my manager, every week, and he prices everything under eBay. And by the way, that means there's no shipping too. So it's under eBay comps. So their stack's like $256. He just puts the stack down and he's like, oh, like, would you do $150 for this? And I'm like, well, let me add it up. I don't know what you have yet. I add it up. It's like $260. So I say, so do you want me to take $110 off? I said, why should I do that? He's like, oh, well, the comps are off. I go, okay, but remember, first of all, no, they're not. Second of all, I don't do comps. It's an average. If you want the card, that's the price it's at. I'm not a charity. I'm not giving stuff away. And I was like, okay, like, which one? And he's like, so pulls one aside. He's like, oh, this one, it's 85. He's like, I'm like, okay, well, show me where it's less. And he's like, oh, well, and this is one app. I'm not going to say what it is because I won't trash the app because I do like it, but people use it the wrong way. Here's this one, April 2nd. I go, well, it's almost July. That was a while ago. Right. Oh, well, it was 50. I'm like, okay, so show me any more data. Oh, well, I'm like, if you can't show me any more, one is not a sample size. If you could show me 5 different buys at 50, I'd be like, okay, maybe it's 50, and I'll adjust it.
Probably like me saying, well, Dave, I bought this Sting figure for 40, but it's going for 100, so I want you to buy it from me. Come on,
for 100, it's like
that's an anomaly.
Prove it to me.
Yeah,
and even then, okay, if that's what it's selling for, I'll sell it to you at that. But then he proceeds to do it with every card. 15 cards.
Get out, dude.
And
what?
I was like, look, it's cool. You guys came from a far ways away, Arizona. Like, and I like you guys. You guys are cool. Again, I don't have any problems with these guys. But I was like, you're young. You're trying to prove a point. I said, here's what you should do next time you want to comp with someone. You need to have multiple sold and multiple buy it now. So it's an average and a range of, well, it's an average of that. But it's show me the range of data points and we'll average them. If everything averages out like $20 under my price, all right, cool. Also, you don't have like $300-400 worth of stuff, so we're not doing a deal. And the bigger point is you're wasting my time. I told you the price is the price on this stuff, and then he kept being like, "Oh, is this where you're at?" I go, "Are you not listening to me?"
Well, here's the thing: is nobody would walk into I wouldn't go into Target and say, "Hey, I'll offer you $20 for this." Well, no, this is a $50 item.
Well, it's going for $20 on the street.
Oh, well, we're not the street. So
it's like, well, you're inside a shop, so it's like again. And I said again, hey guys, if we were at a show, maybe we could have worked out a cash and trade. And I said, but that's price where it's at. And then I said, here's the trump card. Hey, where are you gonna find it?
Yeah, show me.
I mean, you're welcome to go buy it on eBay if you really think you can get it at that price. But number one, you can't. And number two, go around. Ask these other shops who nobody is paying 80% of comps. That is just made up. And
Yeah,
I will
that's
eat
all
my
made
words.
up.
I will eat my words if somebody can show me real proof that more than a single shop is doing that, because there's no
Yeah.
way you can make money.
A profitable business that's doing just doesn't exist, dude.
Yeah.
No,
and
that's
so
foolish.
it ends up that they buy like about $110, $115 worth of cards. They just took out the 3 of the cards that they wanted to flip them. And I said, look, it's totally cool. You can flip or keep. I don't care what you do. But the
Yeah.
prices in here are not flea market prices. Like,
No.
I don't know how much more simply I can state this.
So
And
tell me, how much do you also, I don't mean to cut you off, but how
You're
much
good.
do you also take into account convenience? Like, for example, I told you that I did make a purchase today, and it was one that was supposed to come in the mail, and it didn't. And it just happened to walk into the shop that day. One
Awesome.
of the vendors there retails at 23. He legit comes over to ask me, hey, what do you think is fair? What can I put these at? And I was like, 30. I just sold these 2 same ones almost yesterday for 30, and it went immediately. Okay, great. He goes and pops it on the shelf, and I go, you know what? Mine hasn't come yet. I'm going to go grab that for 30. Even though I spent $7 more, you could even call it $10 more. It was convenient. It was right there. It was right now. It was in my hand, and I got to open it on the spot.
I
So,
mean-
like, how much do you take for accountability and convenience? It's like, sure, could you go find all these cards somewhere else cheaper online or even, like, retail? Sure, if you want to take all of the time to do all of that. But it's all
And
right here.
on
Everything
top-
you're looking for is right here.
on top of it, no, you can't find them all. You just can't. If you
Yep.
could, it would take time. But most of the time, it's like, oh, well, what would you do on this? I go, show me where you can get this right now for this
Yeah.
price, even if it's online. Convenience is huge. Like, I have to mark up my product, and usually I'm in whatever percentage I'm in that's industry, but I'll go higher because I have to make money.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, I had the Optic football, dude, it was gone in like a weekend. Had
Wow.
cases of it, gone. Great, but it's a problem. And people were like, oh, this was at Walmart for this. I go, oh, how much Walmart got left? Oh, well, it's out. Oh, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm
see,
not
that's-
gouging you on the price. It is
No.
higher, but I've looked it up. It's in range.
Yeah.
And the fact that people bought it at that price tells me I'm not gouging. So
No.
people come in every day and their goal is to get the most money, and I respect that. But my goal is to buy it at the lowest amount. If you can out negotiate me, did I tip my cap to you? But you cannot.
Yeah, man, it's such like, I don't know, man. I don't know if cutthroat is the word, but it's like a sparring match.
It is.
like every day with different customers.
And it's like, if you're good at debating, if you're good at just stick to the topic, don't get off topic, don't get emotional. Like, this isn't about me or you, but your argument is incorrect. It's not congruent with what we're doing. And the strongest point, this is a really good point for anybody who's in an argument or negotiation, is like, be willing to walk away. Like, hey, those cards, I don't have to buy any of those.
No.
Those cards, I don't have to sell any of those. The price is the price. And I know, because now I've been open long enough, that folks come in and, like, the people that didn't want to pay, dude, like the next day, same card sells.
You know what's so wild is Tiz tells me that same thing, because I was like, hey, this has kind of been sitting on the shelf for a while. Should I drop the price? He goes, give it until the end of the week. And that item was gone by the end of the week.
Every time.
So I could have, cost myself $10, $15, which isn't a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of things, if you're doing that over and over again, well, sure, it all adds up, right?
Which is why it's so important to buy as low as possible. Because you could buy and build in a discount. Dude, I think T-shirts cost, like $3 to $5. If I sell one for $30 regularly, but it's on sale for $20, I'm still making a good margin.
Right. I had this experience over the weekend at Out the Box where this one customer comes in and he's about to make a big purchase, right? And so it was an autographed White Ranger Funko Pop by Jason David Frank, right? It's just a heater, dude.
That's awesome.
Rest in peace, right? And then there was one that was signed by one of the guys that played Batman. Funko. So there's a seller at the shop, Chaotic Castle. His name is Jonathan. He spends a lot of time at auctions and stuff and picking this, stuff up for a good price and then, getting what it's actually worth. And the guy comes in and he goes, "Hey, will you ask Jonathan if he'll do 5 bills for both?" And of course the answer was no, because these items are probably going for like 4 bills each. So it's like it goes to your point. Do you want me just to take off hundreds of dollars?
Why? What's what's my motivation? I did all this work to get
because I'm going to get both. It's like, well, I'm going to lose. It doesn't matter.
Cool. They're going to sell, dude.
Yeah. So they ended up meeting somewhere in the middle and they were both happy, which I think is the purpose of all of this stuff. But
it is.
Some people just get pretty emotional about it.
If you have the correct goal, which is like, I'm motivated to sell, you're motivated to buy. But you have to be realistic. Like, I'm not motivated like I must sell this thing. Let's get to a price that actually makes sense. And if you're way off the reservation, I'm just going to tell you, like, we're not close. Yeah. You haven't done the homework. Don't these Gen Z kids, don't flash me one number and say that's the comp. First of all, that's not the comp. That's a comp. Mm-hmm. You have to sample size is the key phrase here. Everybody take away. There has to be more than one, like a cluster within the time range. And if eBay, there's a lot of shill bidding. One bid, dude, I could get you to just be like, "Hey, JR, can you just buy this thing for $10,000 and we'll just say the deal went through."
Okay.
And I'm like, "Do I have to pay you?" No, but I want people to see that this card sold for $10,000.
Oh, sneaky,
that doesn't mean it did.
Sneaky practice, yeah.
So somebody could use that, and I'll be like, "How many bids did it have?" "Oh, well, 1. Nope. It's got to have for me like about 10 or so. That way I know it's actually somebody's interested in buying it."
Right. Well, let's try to circle back to your question if you remember it, because we kind of just went off there for a minute.
Do you deal with people like comping you? It's like a death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Yeah, honestly, not very often.
That's awesome.
And that's just because I don't operate there.
True. They can't be like, "Oh, these are for sale, man. Hey, well, what would you do? You got any room?"
Right. And if they ask, the answer is, "Well, that belongs to a vendor. That's not the store's." If it was, maybe. But it's, we can't. Unless it's like a special circumstance and it's, somebody I know and they're like pals or whatever. Sure, but oftentimes, no. Like, luckily, I don't really ever have to deal with that. But I see it in practice. Like I've seen what is happening to you happen to the guys that operate out the box over and over and over again.
And like, when did this become? I think it became this weird common practice because everybody thinks if you sell cards, it's a show. We're not at a show. This is not like, "Oh, we got any room? What'd you do?" I'm like, you walked into my retail shop. Yeah. As Ryan says so eloquently, the price is the price.
Price is the price.
You don't like it? Go down the street. Yo, I'm not keeping you in here.
No.
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
What would you say it is you do here?
What man. Everything.
Everything.
But we could talk about cards and we could talk about toys all day. What else is happening in your life right now? And quickly here, about 25 minutes in, let us apologize for not pumping out a show last week.
Yeah, scheduling was a nightmare.
Scheduling was a nightmare. And conveniently, my internet decided just to not work for multiple days. And of course, it was the days that we were planning to cut the show. And I'm like, dude, it's still not up. Like I almost considered doing a hotspot on my phone to try to pull it up.
All
but
right,
I figured
man.
it would.
I'm here.
It would just. Yeah, it would probably just not be very good.
It's like I was just having dinner over at Pat's Pizza, and
you lucky dog.
It's right down the street. Somebody mentioned, "Oh, it's gonna be nice Monday." That's because it's not the weekend. It's like all the nice weather is during the week. Just like, "Oh, I got all my internet during the week, but not on the weekend." That's what happened to us.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a pain in the butt. And then we're like, look, man, is it the end of the world? No. Were there so few disappointed people? Sure, but I'd made sure to answer them and tell them, hey, this is the deal. Life happens sometimes, but here we are, back at it, doing it, brother.
It's free.
Yeah, it's absolutely free.
A couple of things happened today. So Jesse from Maine Vintage. So I saw him at the Sea Dogs Friday, which was cool.
Nice.
So I was handing out packs of cards at the Sea Dogs. Mad fun. Got rid of all the cards. Had a great time. Fireworks. Sea Dogs, of course, lost both games of the doubleheader.
Come on, man.
After great comebacks, but in the minor leagues, you get 2 7-inning games. So had they got 2 more innings, I'm confident they could have got the win.
They could have pulled it off.
Yeah. So shouting at Jesse, he's there. He's got season tickets, Jesse and his son. And they hit me up again today and was like, yo, I'm up in Augusta at the Collect Con, and this guy's got jerseys. I was like, cool. And he sends me a pic. I'm like, oh, it's Junior Pirates jerseys. He's like, he's got a bunch. I'm like, oh, I'll do like 5. And he's like, how long are you going to be at the shop? I'm like, you know me. I'll be here a while. Comes down. Dude, he's got 2 hockey duffel bags full. There's like 40 jerseys.
What?
Yeah, so cut me a good deal on them, and now I'm going to resell them, and he left meat on the bone so I can make some money. So that was like the first awesome thing. Junior Pirates, sick.
Can we make T-shirts that say meat on the bone, please?
Meat on the bone, yeah, dude. I got to have Matt design that. That's a great idea.
Absolutely. Like, it just says, leave me some meat on the bone.
Like, what?
Excuse me?
You heard me. Don't come to the barbecue and eat all the ribeyes and the good stuff.
Yeah, come on now. Yeah.
So then after that, dude, Corey and Ollie came in to the shop for the first time.
They were telling me they were coming through. I was excited.
And so I was finishing wrapping up, and me and Corey were chatting probably till like 30 minutes after closing. And my dad's just over sitting watching the Red Sox doing postcards. And I was like, all right, like Ollie, like what are you looking for? So he, found some Tom Brady's, got a couple cool cards, and then UFC. So I was like, you know what, man? I haven't seen Corey in a while. Like, let's just open a box on me. He's like, all right, cool.
Oh, so that's so cool, bro.
Opening some 24 Topps Chrome UFC. This kid pulled 2 Conor McGregors in the same box.
Dog,
he was hype, dude. We got a picture after. He's like, I'm so lucky, Dad. He's like, I can't believe all this luck. And then he bought a mystery box and he won one of the mystery box prizes.
Shut up, bro. What?
He's like Ronald Acuna. So he got his first slab and he got 2 McGregors, and then, he bought like another box of the UFC, and he got a hat. So the kids, I was texting Corey, like, I love having the shop because I get to be a part of those like first hobby shop moments for these kids. For so many of them, I feel it's like super grateful that I'm there for that. It's kind of the reason I opened it. I'm realizing that's why. At first, it's like, you want to have a profitable business, but the kids, like, you're them again. You're like, watching his face be like, oh yeah, oh he pull. He's like, well, look what this is. Oh my god. So cool. So that was like my day today. And then my dad got a flat tire on Haggis Parkway.
That's
so
the worst.
I'm like, well, luckily I'm like 5 minutes, not even, I'm 2 minutes away.
Yeah.
So we're looking for the tool to get his lug nuts off. And so then a cop pulls up and he totally chill. He's like, oh, dude, let me just hop in. And he's like, oh, maybe you just need to prop this thing. The guy just gets down, Scarborough Police, just like doing the whole change. What? And then the guy from Volkswagen, or who they contract out, came over to, because my dad called them for roadside, and he like finished the job, and me and my dad were just like, you guys on it. Better to have more help than no help.
No, for real. Dude, I think it's so cool hearing you bring up Corey and Ollie, because I wanted to let you in on a little something.
What's up?
I've been speaking to Corey this week, and I found out that Ollie is a big listener of the show.
Dude,
which
shout
I
out
thought
to
was really
Ollie.
Cool. Yeah, and he just he loves listening to all of the like different stories, and one of the coolest parts about it was just kind of hearing from Corey how he feels like that you and I have such a great dynamic back and forth, and our conversation is so easy. He thinks that is going to really help Ollie when it comes to him conversing in school and in sports and then, at home with the family. And I was just like, dude, one, don't put that kind of pressure on me, but two, that's super cool. That feels really good. So big shout out to Ollie. One time. Pulling the double champ.
Dude, double champ. He was stoked, beyond stoked. It's, I guess, at that age, I didn't think about it, but you're mimicking a lot of what other people are doing. And you're like, oh, hey, that works for them. Maybe that stuff works for me. And you and me both know we are in this place in our careers where we are looked up to, whether we want to be or not. So we have to make certain decisions on what to talk about and what not to talk about.
Right.
And luckily, we've had a ton of media training, but I know there's a lot of people out there that make podcasts. I mean, everybody can make a show. You can tell they don't have training. You can tell they get off the rails and they don't realize what they're doing.
Yeah, no, quickly. Often it's just, folks just sitting around talking about nothing that don't have anything to say. And
some of those TikToks you sent me way back,
so
like,
good,
I was like, it grinds my gears, but it's like a guilty pleasure.
No, absolutely, man. Jeez, dude.
Yeah.
Flat tire, bro, is the worst.
And it like popped. It wasn't a nail or anything. It was just like, he's like, I've had a leak. I'm like, yeah, the F in Falcon is like, it's like wide open. I'm like, this is bad.
Get the F out.
Get that F out.
Man.
So that happened. Good sales this weekend. The card wall is up. Tim crushed it, man. The card wall will fit. We have in our shop 1,000+ cards.
It's crazy. Now, how does this thing actually work? Because I've only seen it in photos and on a FaceTime with you. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is it 10 different racks all combined into one giant shelf?
Yeah, basically all put together. So
wow.
Built all these frames. It's like 7 shelves. Got the little lip so you can lean the card. And then it's got 2, it's plexi. It's a certain kind of plexiglass. And he cut little circle holes on either end so you can just put your finger in there and just slide it back and forth.
Wow.
It's custom, man. Like it's super
That's cool.
Nice. Yeah. We're going to put up more.
The card wall.
So the shop, it keeps evolving. It keeps coming along. But I was thinking about how a lot of people, they'll just talk about anything. Like you said, like they have a podcast. It's really a podcast about nothing. It's not anything. It's nothing.
It's like Seinfeld, just not entertaining.
It's just not.
You have no idea, Jerry.
Yeah. So I was talking today with someone and they were like, I'm not sure you should talk about like dating or, talk about all this stuff because it's not double play. It's not what you do. And I was like, okay, like, hey, I appreciate the honesty. I always love when somebody brings me a fair point. I'm like, that's a fair point. I said, but I'm well-rounded. And he's like, well, I know you are. I'm like, okay, but you got to understand people coming for the first time don't know that.
Right. And again, you're not defined by what you do.
Sure. Never. And I said, if I feel comfortable about saying something or I have something to add, I'm going to do it. And it's a value add. It's not bashing, people. It's not like bashing relationships or women or anybody. It was just like, I was like, oh, this is like good content. I think this is actually helpful. I think it's actually helpful not only to listeners, but for me to talk about and 100%. To add a spin. And now I bet you know this well, better than anyone, is when somebody who doesn't do media gives you a criticism, you're like, okay, let me okay, I hear you. I can't explain 20 years of making content to you, and whatever I say, you won't get it because you don't live in that world. Now, the other point was like, I don't want to see you go off the rails and business. I'm like, don't worry about that. I know exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I know exactly what I'm doing. And if it's too off topic, I understand where you're coming from. But the thing is, and this is like a Gary Vee thing, like, you should talk about everything you're interested in. There shouldn't be like, JR, why do you only talk about figures? It's like, well, I don't. Or, hey, you should only talk about radio. Like, you're like, I'm not going to do that.
No, I do that enough. It's so weird, man, because I had a similar thing happen to me this week.
Yeah.
And it was with my PD, Jonathan, super cool guy, and has really helped me get back on track on the air and feeling like myself and actually having fun and letting it fly and not like being a robot per se. And he brought me this question and he goes, JR, what is your brand? And it just like, I didn't have an answer for him because I feel like I've been so far removed from it. So I was like, I don't have an answer for you right now, but let me come up with it because I've had a lot of changes happening within my career. So I sit down and I send him this long talk to text. So there's a crap ton of just misspelled words in there. You know what I mean?
The talk to text.
Yeah, talk to text. So basically the way that I broke it down, and I'm glad that I get to talk to you about this.
It's because master segue. Continue.
Yeah, is I go, my brand has always been Mr. Shut Up and Party. I've always been the life of the party. I've always been the person you can rely on for the newest and best music. I've always been an entertainer. But I said, honestly, dude, speaking candidly, like between us and now between our listeners and you and I said, the moment I moved here, the party was over.
This is
over.
Not a party.
No, seriously. And that's because there's been so little opportunities for me to do that. And that's why you see me take little gigs at the toy shop just so I can mix some house music and hang out with my buddies. Just because I miss playing. I love that stuff. You can recall how just excited I was for all of those gigs and to come up with all the different bits and the special effects and the cool themes.
And I remember when you were in Nashville, you're like, dude, I'll do Broadway. I'll do prom. You were everywhere.
Everywhere, dude. Everywhere. Like I DJ rooftop down on Broadway Friday night after getting off the air, and Saturday I'm doing a prom for 1,000 people.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of that, of course, was out of necessity because I needed to keep my neck above water because living there was just so expensive. But yeah, I told him, I go, my brand was the life of the party. I was Mr. Shut Up and Party. And now since I moved here, the party's over, you know? And then I kind of went on to, you know, the thing that I've really latched onto, and simply because it seems to be the thing that people latch on to me for the most as of late, and it's the whole, it's cool to be you.
It's a great tag.
And that's something that I've used as my sign off on the air since I did radio in Portland, Maine 10 years ago, you know? And it's kind of stuck with me, and it's you know, it's kind of morphed over the years, but it's always had the same kind of core meaning. And that was, don't ever let anybody try to put you down because you found something that brings you joy, whether that be cards or collectibles or toys or Pokemon or anime or coins, whatever the hell it might be. If you're not hurting or harming anybody, F them. You know, who cares what people have to say? It's cool to be you. And that kind of got me thinking more. Again, a long text. And it got me into this whole, like, in a sense, that's like an anti-bullying stance.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I definitely know how it feels to be picked on and jumped in school. And I definitely know how it feels to be the bully as well here and there, trying to somehow get that power back that was taken from you. And that's never the way to go about it. But when you're that age and you're trying to figure things out, you're just trying to make yourself feel good. But so I think we came up with like a good thing, and we're gonna try to do like a anti-bullying campaign, and then also maybe separately or double that as an actual toy drive for kids that don't get many things around
Toy
Christmas
drive,
time.
Let's go. I mean, come on, that's both the things you do. But to be asked that question, what's your brand? That is one of those obvious questions that you stop asking yourself once you build it. And
it was always an easy answer up until I got here.
Well, you came to that conclusion because you actually thought about it. Like you actually think on stuff like that. I don't know if I was going to say what my brand is. It's become, it's still daveismedia. It's still the media guy, but now it's Dave is Collectibles also.
Yeah.
And Dave is talking about his dating life also. Because I think it's helpful. I don't think, and it kind of spurred me out because it's Men's Mental Health Month in June. And then
Yeah.
I was going through my stuff, you had your stuff, and I said, yeah, we don't talk about this in the open much. If you don't have a good friend, you don't really have an outlet to tell somebody. And I said, all right, well, I'm going to give you guys, you know me, my practical, blunt advice about if this happens to you, this is probably what's happening. I'm not a paid expert, but take it with a grain of salt. This is only based on my own experiences.
Yeah. It's, you can like think of your brand and it's like, well, it's kind of always constantly evolving, but my brand isn't who I actually am as a human being. Maybe there's glimpses of it, but the volume is turned way up, right? Like, back when I was doing all of these parties and making music and touring and the schools and the paint parties and the foam, like, let me tell you, when I wasn't doing those things, I was the complete opposite of what you would see on stage.
That's the rule. That's the rule we've always done. After a show, after the club, no music. Basically
music.
No talking either. It would be
No
a
talking
silent
either.
ride home.
Yeah. And, dude, that question, it really, I don't want to say it got under my skin because it came from a good place. It came from him trying to help me. So it wasn't like trying to challenge me. It was from a stance of, if I have this information, I can help you. And it just really opened up my mind. And, I think to your point, people, see what I do on social media, which hasn't been very often as of late, because honestly, I've been so down and out that I've had zero desire to create anything.
Yeah.
Zero. But they see, oh, you're hanging out with this person and you're, talking about this on the air and you interviewed this artist and you went out on this toy hunt. And it's like, well, then that's exactly what you are. So let me go ahead and let me put you in this box because that's all you are. But it's no, that's just my profession, you dumb I'm actually a dude that's dealing with a dysfunctional long distance relationship right now. And I'm living in a city where I don't have any of my best friends like Dave or Corey or Hazard or any of those guys. And I'm basically navigating this all by myself because I decided that I had to leave home to become the man that I was meant to become and become the broadcaster that I was meant to become. And you see all the highlights of that, but you don't see actually how lonely it is when you're in a room talking to a microphone by yourself. And then you come home to your 1-bedroom apartment and you're watching TV and smoking hookah by yourself. So it's like, it gets pretty damn lonely. And after a while, that just starts to mess with my head, man. And I gotta find things to do. I do therapy. I talk to you a lot. It's just, people have a certain perspective of me, just like they do of you. And well, Dave is only sports cars. That's it. It's like, if you know Dave like I do, that's just a small part of his life. It's a big part right now, but in the grand scheme of his life, this is just a small part of who he is and who he's becoming.
Man, well said. And I felt just compelled to talk about like dating. I'm like, you and me talk about it a lot. I have strong ideas.
Yeah.
And if it could help someone else who was dealing with a similar thing, just to get a different perspective, then hey, that's impact. That's a win. And it's just helpful for me to like get it out there and just be okay with like, yeah, the world can hear this. I'm not hating on anybody. I'm just like, I call it like it is. And it is a part of who I am at this point. And think about like for posterity, like long term, I want this on wax. Like I want this recorded. Yep. I don't want to forget these ideas. I'm going to have an epiphany and be like, oh man, I listened to that episode 8 and I said that thing. And yeah, dude, I got to get back to that kernel of like truth.
Yeah.
Because and the other thing too is like a lot of the ways we as men like deal with our issues and our feelings is like destructive.
We don't. Yeah.
Which is destructive also. And so it's like, if it's constructive for you to like articulate and put your thoughts, out into the world on a video, on audio, and you can help somebody, like it's a total package, brother. Like
Yeah.
I'm just trying to add a little of my 2 cents to the mix because, why not?
It's like, do I live my life on the air every day? In a sense, yeah, but I only live the parts of it that I want you to hear.
Just like Instagram. It's all the highlights. Unless you
100%.
choose to share the other stuff, but we don't
Which we've
purposely
never been
make
afraid to do.
No. But we don't make ourselves look like nobody's going to make themselves look bad. So even when I'm sharing a problem, I'm still not probably sharing like everything.
Right.
And you got to keep some people anonymous because that's not fair to them. It's not fair to speak on someone else. Like they should speak for themselves.
100%, man. Yeah, it's I don't know. I feel like things were just so less complicated back in the day, dude.
They were.
Honestly, yeah, the older I get, it's like I'm just done with things changing. I'm done with trying to keep up. I'm done with the rat race. Like, I got my
can't be done.
Yeah, it's so tough sometimes, dude. And it's I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to think about a life after radio, and that terrifies the hell out of me because this is something that I luckily stumbled into, and I've overachieved further than probably anybody thought that I could outside of you and some of our best pals. But it's like, man, I don't know. It's even such a different industry from when I got in 10 years ago. And I'm still grateful that I get to do it. And I still have a fun time in there. It's just, I don't know, man. I've been starting to have these thoughts about what would my life be like if I stopped tomorrow?
Well, I think it's good that you're there because you're going to start coming up with solutions. Like when you got asked that difficult question, what's your brand? Your mind went to work and you started coming up with solutions.
Yeah. And dude, honestly, for a long time, I tried not to think about that because it scared me,
Yeah.
about this is all I've known is this microphone right here for 10 years, 10 plus years now. And just trying to constantly, get better and master my craft and find new ways to be creative. And, I'm at that point now where I'm like, well, how much to buy into double play? Maybe that's the move.
Everybody's got a price, including me.
Yeah. So, I want to talk into a microphone in some capacity the rest of my life, even if that's just doing this with you.
I have those here also, sweetening the deal as we speak.
Right. So it's just, man, I feel like I bring and offer so much to any company, whether it's a radio company, podcasting company. I've even had thoughts about, okay, what if the next 10 years of my radio career look different than the first 10 years? What if I become a producer for a show? What if I do that? What if I kind of take a step away from the spotlight and the camera and the mic and I become a producer? But then again, I can also track my shows in all these other towns, so I can get that creative fix as well.
Yep.
But then I'm like, dude, then I start to get afraid because I'm like, I don't want to be creative right now. I don't want to make anything right now. My boss is like, JR, I need you to pump out some content, dude. Like we're way behind. And I'm just like, it kills me. But that's what makes me angry because I love and I live to make stuff, and I don't know how to get out of this funk.
Well, the only way to get out is you got to make something. And you got to not care about what it is. That's why I like this podcast. And I got you to bend to my will because I said, we're not planning. You can have things you want to talk about, but I'm not doing a sheet. I'm not doing that because it's forcing you to just be off the cuff.
Yeah.
And now you're getting better at it. Yeah.
No, I honestly think I am. And I've gotten a lot of compliments about our show.
Same.
Even today, I had a girl tell me, "Hey, the episode you did where you played your old songs, that was so funny."
Right? Yo, because a lot
Yeah.
of people don't know. You've been in the
Yeah.
booth for years, longer than RH.
Yeah, right.
He built it.
He built it, bro. He lost a tooth doing it. So if you know, you know.
He Derek Whited it.
Yeah. So, and then even today during my mix, I stumbled across "Shut Up and Party" and I played it. And
Dude.
Tiz was like, "What? This is you? I had no idea." So there's so many people that don't know that side of me. Before I hang up the headphones, as far as music goes, I definitely want to release a couple more tracks with you.
I mean, the team is still here, baby. You know we
Yeah.
can do this.
Yeah, I mean, hey, there's no time like the present. But I even had a talk with your brother a while back.
Oh, nice.
On text, a pretty lengthy one too, and it was kind of in the realm of when you came out here last year and we recorded all those different DNR stories.
Those are cool.
Music stories,
Yeah.
right? And Ryan seems to be fully on board with doing like an actual project, documentary, mixtape, the whole nine.
Still got Yumi, Hazard. I'm sure we can grab Jeffro. I mean, look, people are available.
And they're accessible, right? Just like how we're able to do this show, like accessible that way.
Yeah.
Man, I just think that would be so cool. But of course, it's just with all the time we have.
Ample time.
Yeah. So I'm having this, and I'll wrap this up because I hate being that guy that's like, oh, why is JR being negative today? It's like, well, no, I'm not. I'm just trying to explain to you what's on my mind.
You also got to reframe it. Like, is it being negative or are you being realistic?
Yeah.
Because
No,
being
you're right.
realistic about like your feel, like that's the thing that people got to get away from. Like, you can have this broad range of feelings. It doesn't make you, like you said, you're not your career. It doesn't make you that way. It's like, I'm recognizing that I'm feeling this way. I always tell you with the cloud, I'm like, bro, live in the cloud.
Yeah.
If you keep running from it, it's going to keep chasing you. Or it could
can't
pass you
escape
by.
it. Yep.
And you're like, all right, it's not going to be forever. I'll just wait. It'll go by. Cool, we're good.
I've even had people tell me, man, it must be great to just be so like excited and happy all the time. Because again, they hear me on the air and they like, oh, that's just how he is every day, every time, every minute.
Damn, it's a compliment. In a way.
But that would just be exhausting, bro. There's
Yeah.
no way.
I'm always suspect of people. I'm like, are you always like this? Because I feel like I'm a cynical a-hole, and I'm not.
Is this a show? Is this a
I'm
shtick here?
positive, but I'm also like, I have this balance: cynical, positive. Like I'm both all the time.
So my conundrum here, and I'm hoping you can help me, or maybe some of our listeners in the comments can, because I don't know. I think this is probably more common than people think.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I finally come to an agreement with the girlfriend, my long-distance girlfriend, about the time frame of put up or shut up kind of thing, right?
Okay, we have some structure here, some framing. That's good.
Right. Just to give it a little sports analogy, put up or shut up, right? And I'm at the point where, I went in, I had a talk with my SVP, super good guy. He's always had my best interest, or at least that's the way it seems, right? And what I'm trying to do is I'm basically trying to get to California. I'm trying to get in to do radio in SoCal, right? But the opportunities are so limited and so scarce that there isn't many people that are just willy-nilly leaving their job in Southern California unless the traffic really gets to them, right?
It's pretty bad.
So I'm trying to get in there, and I'd love to do that within iHeart, right?
Yeah.
But I'm seeing that window it's not even open right now. The window that is open is the riskiest, and I'm probably going to have to just jump through the window and break it, right?
Stone cold.
And I just give my 2 weeks, right, around when my lease is up here for my apartment, and I just move out there and I try to find something else to do, whether that's at first DJing events, continuing to do this to hopefully get the show monetized one day, which, you know, is a goal eventually for us. And
it's
I
within
think we're
reach.
we're inching towards that every show, which feels good. But it's also scary, dude, because again, this is all I've known for 10 years. And I kind of doubt myself where, well, maybe this is all that I'm good at now. But then there's a part of me in the back of my mind that's like, well, if I'm able to learn this industry, I can learn another industry, and I can bring myself and my personality and what I bring to the table to that industry and help change it. And I can be a good addition to it, whatever that might be. So I'm just I'm in a point where that's where I'm trying to get to. And I'm worried that it's going to be a dramatic, like, life-changing move.
Well,
where there is no net, right? And that's the scary thing. So I'm just like, I'm not sure what to do.
Well, that's a fact. It is scary. There is no net. And I'll say the best advice I was given when I made any move like this was the work you put in to get where you're at, it's going to require more work to get higher up. Everything is a step.
Yep.
And as you go up, you start back at zero again. So this next move, you're back at zero, and you have to do more work. You have to do what you're doing now, but do it better, more efficient to achieve success in the next market, in the next phase, whatever. So what you did to get here is not enough to keep going. That's the scary part, but that also, like, it makes you alive. It makes you be like, okay, my senses are sharp, my spidey senses are tingling, like, I can do it. You left Portland, dude. You got into Portland. You didn't even have an in. Then you got into Nashville.
Yeah.
Then you got to Denver.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason stopping you to get into the new market in SoCal, and maybe that's through the side door.
Yeah. Maybe it's not with the company that I'm with, even though I would like for it to be. Maybe it's not even with another radio company. Maybe radio isn't even involved, which is the scariest freaking part and the scariest thing for me to say.
Maybe it's TV.
And yeah, well, I mean, I'd love to host a game show. That's always been a dream. Yeah. You know, real quick here, I just had this thought. Did you know that every radio job that I've gotten, they've called me for?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Rob brought me in. He found me.
Wow.
Nashville called me and found me. iHeart called me and found me. We've been scouting you for 2 years. It's time. Maybe I just be patient and wait for that next thing.
Well,
or maybe that's not going to come. Maybe it's time for me to pivot and do something. I just don't know what it's going to be, bro. I don't know. And I'm just like, what do I do, man? Oh no. What did I do?
Oh my God. It's like that meme with oh no.
Oh no. Yeah.
What you have to keep doing is keep grinding. You got to keep making content, keep making your show great, because there are people listening and watching, and probably somebody who's really interested is going to end up watching this whole episode.
Yeah.
They will. So that's the facts of life. The best thing you can do, like from the Stoics, they always say, like, if you just work on yourself, just focused on what you're doing, the other things will come to you. That stuff is going to come. Like, you put yourself in proximity. I always say this. This always helped me with dating. This is another good dating advice. Like, if you want to be with somebody, or maybe you don't know them, put yourself in the proximity of, like, where do they go? Yeah. Are you guys going to the same school? Maybe you have the same classes, same gym, know the same people. Like, put yourself in the proximity of the thing you want, and then, like you're saying, you're already manifesting the next thing, which is, I want to be in this new market. I want to be great at radio. I want to be great at the next thing, even if it's not radio. So the fact that you're open to it is the first step. That's all you have to do. And the next thing is what you've been doing. It's just grind. When you were going through the other thing earlier, about being lonely. Like, dude, this is a lonely grind. I'm in my huge shop by myself right now. It is.
Well, you got Macho Man behind you, but that thing I'm buying when I come out.
I know. I got to bring him home because people have been moving him around the shop in the back too much. I'm like, I got to get this out of here. Too many people are touching it. It's 9 p.m. It's a lonely grind if you want to do this. It's totally worth it. But
yeah,
in the days when you're like, I could be at the beach, I could be hanging with people, it'd be fun. Remember all the things you earned, and that's why it's worth it. Because the next thing can be even sweeter when you know you had to earn it.
So let me ask you one last question. Do you think I've gotten as far as I'm going to get within my radio field currently?
I don't think so. I think there's more. I don't know your industry as well as you do, but I know there's more. I think it's like Jordan off season. I got to get stronger. Pistons are beating me up. Like, I know I'm there. I'm right there. I can do it, but I got to hit those weights, man. So, like, your version of the weights and literal weights, like, you got to hit that hard now.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I'm a problem now. Wait until you see the next version. I'm going to be a really big problem.
Yeah, I wish I had Rodman at least. Somebody to battle with.
Somebody. I need to make a trade, coach. I need players on the team.
Golly. Well, yeah, man. Here's the thing. If this is it, oh, poor me. I'm doing major market radio with number 18. It's like a lot of great, you know what I mean? So I'm not trying to downplay that. Like, it's not a big deal, because it is a big deal. And it's a big deal to me because I earned that, But people like myself and people like Dave, and probably a lot of the folks, especially if you're still listening at this point in the podcast, are wired the same way. It's always, okay, this is great, but that honeymoon phase is really quick, and it's what's next? How can I get better? How can I be bigger? How can I do more? And
well, remember, man, if you have a big vision, it's going to take longer. If you don't have a big vision, like, dude, getting a job doesn't take that long.
Right.
Me growing this business to 100 million and selling the brand, it's going to take a long time. You getting to the thing you don't even quite know what it is yet, it's going to take even longer because you haven't been able to quite define what your life looks like.
Yeah.
It's important for you to do that. Like, I goal planned this. I said, in 10 years, I want to sell this business for $100 million. I think collectibles are going to be so hot, and my brand and my YouTube and all my IP, that somebody's going to say, dude, I will buy you out of your business. You just help me for a couple of years to keep it going because you know it. So I put it out there. That's why I'm saying it boldly, because I believe that's going to happen.
I believe it too, buddy, and I want that to happen for you.
It's
more
going to be
than anything.
wild, right?
Yeah,
so
that'd be so cool.
When you have, because I thought about it a lot, when you write it down and you figure that thing out, dude, just be crazy enough to say it. You don't even have to say it on social or on the air, but like, say it to yourself, and then if it sounds right, keep saying it. If it doesn't sound right, just adjust. It's a cool thing about goals is you can always change them.
Yeah.
Nobody's in charge of them except you.
Do you ever have your list of goals and then you accomplish something that wasn't actually on there, so you just write it down and cross it off anyway?
That's the best, dude. The bucket list, I'm like, oh, wasn't it? It was like skydiving. I'm like, didn't have that on the list. Write it in. Got it. Another one down, guys. That's how we do it. Yeah,
I love that. Well, look, it's laid out there for you. I'm wearing my Rise and Grind podcast T-shirt here, which is ATIZ, his podcast with his pals, Eli and Nesto. And your boy is going to be featured on their show. Not Luther. He's not on the show. But me, your boy, JR, is going to be on the Rise and Grind podcast this week. So you can hear that at riseandgrind.com, and I'll share it out on my Instagram story and all that. So I'm pretty excited for you to hear it. I talk about you and I a lot, how we became best friends. I talk about our show. I talk about all the different just endeavors that we've been a part of together.
A lot. We've done a lot of stuff. Dude, you've been like key grip on so many of my shoots.
Bro, I've been the boom mic man.
Dude, you boom up. You boom because you got long arms. You're good boom up.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Well, for Dave, my name is JR. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Next time, bring a friend with you to steal a line from good old JR Jim Ross. And most importantly, remember, it's cool to be you. Peace.